Attention passionate Montreal, canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Montreal canadiens fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you're following the Canadiens closely, you know that this offseason has been anything but boring. The team is gearing up for what promises to be an intense season, with a lot of focus on the young talent and how they can propel Montreal back into Stanley Cup contention. But there's one particular topic that's been making waves lately, and that's the situation surrounding their star defenseman, Hutson. Yeah, Hutson's name is at the center of some big discussions right now, and it's not just about his on-ice performance, which has been quite impressive. It's about his contract negotiations, or rather, the lack of an extension at this point. And let me tell you, this situation has some interesting layers that could influence the team's future in a big way. So let's set the scene. Hutson, a young defenseman who's quickly become a key piece for Montreal, was eligible to sign a contract extension starting July 1st. After a season that saw him display remarkable offensive skills, recording 6 goals and 60 assists for a total of 66 points in just 82 games, many fans and analysts thought it was a no-brainer. Especially considering the recent deals signed by other young defensemen like Luke Hughes and Jackson Lockwood, who inked 7- and 8-year deals worth around $9 million per season. Naturally, the expectation was that Hutson would follow suit, maybe even get a deal that reflects his offensive upside and potential for growth. But here's where it gets complicated. Instead of smooth negotiations, reports from NHL insider Elliotte Friedman have indicated that things have become quite emotional. Yeah, you heard that right, emotional. According to Friedman, the talks between Hutson's camp and the Canadiens have gotten tense enough that they've needed to hit pause. That's not a small thing in the NHL, especially for a young player with his trajectory. Negotiations can sometimes be tricky, but when they turn emotional, it signals that there are deeper issues at play. Maybe it's about the valuation, maybe about the length of the deal, or even future expectations. Whatever it is, the fact remains that Montreal and Hutson aren't close to an agreement right now, and it's causing concern among the fans who see him as a foundational piece for the team's future. What makes this situation even more interesting is that Hutson himself has been remarkably mature and professional about it. He's made it clear that he's not obsessing over the contract negotiations. Instead, he's letting his agent handle those talks while he focuses solely on his game. That's a smart move, especially for a player still developing and trying to prove himself at the NHL level. Hutson recently said, "I try to stay pretty hands-off," emphasizing that his priority is to improve and contribute on the ice. He's also expressed his desire to stay in Montreal, saying, "Of course I want to be here, who would?" It's a sentiment that resonates with fans. He's committed, he's passionate about wearing the Canadiens jersey, and he's eager to develop further. Now, let's talk about his style of play because it's essential to understand why the team and fans are so eager to keep him around. Hutson is primarily known for his offensive capabilities. He's a defenseman who loves to jump into the rush, create plays, and set up teammates. His vision and passing skills are top-notch, making him a real threat on the power play. But like many young players, he's still refining his defensive game. He admits that he's struggled defensively at times, but he's actively working on those aspects. Hutson says, "I don't think there's necessarily a bar. You just want to keep going and keep showing that there's much more for myself to learn and do." That attitude is exactly what you want from a young player with such high potential. He recognizes that his game isn't perfect yet, and that there's room to grow, especially in those little details that can make the difference between a good defenseman and a great one. Hutson's mindset is to keep developing every night, understanding that consistency is key. He's aware that in the NHL, you don't always have your A game, and sometimes you need to bring your B game and still contribute. That kind of maturity at such a young age bodes well for his future, and it's why fans and analysts alike are so eager to see him sign that extension and secure his spot long-term in Montreal. But where the current negotiations could impact all of that. The fact that they're not close yet might seem minor, but in the NHL, timing is everything. If Hutson and the Canadiens can't reach an agreement soon, it could lead to uncertainty. Would he be willing to sign a shorter-term deal? Could this become a distraction for him during the season? These are questions fans are asking. And while General Manager Kent Hughes has expressed confidence, saying, "Every negotiation is different," and he's not worried about the delay, you have to wonder how this might ripple through the team's locker room and on-ice chemistry. Hughes's words are reassuring. He's known for being a calm and pragmatic GM, and he's been praised for his handling of player negotiations. He points out that some deals come together quickly, others take longer, but that's all part of the process. Still, with the season starting on October 8th against the Toronto Maple Leafs, the clock is ticking. The Canadiens need Hutson at his best, and they need that extension sorted out if they want to build a team capable of competing for a deep playoff run. Because, let's face it, Montreal's roster is solid, but they need their young stars to be locked in and motivated. The team's current core is talented, with players like Cole Caulfield leading the offensive charge. But Hutson's development is crucial. His ability to contribute offensively as a defenseman could be a game-changer for Montreal. The team's future hinges on players like him stepping up, but stability is key. The longer the contract talks drag on, the more it could create doubts, not just for Hutson but for the entire team's morale. Looking ahead, Montreal has a lot to prove this season. The last few years haven't been easy, a lot of rebuilds, coaching changes, and roster adjustments. But there's a renewed sense of optimism among fans that this team can turn things around. Hutson's potential is a big part of that puzzle. Imagine him hitting his stride, becoming a top-pair defenseman, and helping Montreal push for a playoff spot and beyond. That's the kind of future that gets fans excited, and that's why the current contract situation is so critical. It's not just about the money or the length of the deal. It's about sending a message that Montreal is committed to their young stars and their long-term success. And let's not forget, Hutson's work ethic and attitude are what make him a fan favorite already. His desire to improve every night, to learn from his mistakes, and to help the team any way he can, even while these negotiations are ongoing, shows he's truly dedicated. Fans are hoping that this emotional negotiation doesn't turn into a long-term distraction, and that both sides can find common ground soon. Because at the end of the day, Hutson's value to the Canadiens goes beyond just stats. He's a symbol of the team's future, a young star with the potential to be a cornerstone. So, as we approach the start of the season, all eyes are on Hutson. Will he sign that extension before the puck drops? Will the negotiations heat up or stay cold for a while longer? And most importantly, how will this impact his performance and the team's chemistry? These are the questions fans are buzzing about, and I know many of you are just as eager as I am to see how everything unfolds. Remember, this is just one piece of the bigger puzzle that is the Montreal Canadiens, a team with a rich history, passionate fans, and a bright future. Hutson's contract situation is a small but significant chapter in that story, and I have no doubt that, with the right mindset and leadership, Montreal will keep pushing forward, building a roster that can compete at the highest level. The season is almost here, and I can tell you, it's going to be an exciting ride. So stay tuned, keep cheering, and let's see how this story develops in the coming weeks. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this contract saga with Hutson? Do you think a deal will get done soon, or are we headed for a longer wait? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters, not just to me, but to the entire Canadiens community. We all want to see Hutson succeed, and we want what's best for the team's future. Plus, I'll be back very soon with more updates, so stay tuned, keep your passion alive, and let's continue riding this roller coaster together. The Canadiens are on the rise, and this season could be one of the most exciting yet. Thanks for sticking with me, and as always, go Canadiens!